Four.
Hi, welcome everybody to our fourth and last session on the QuickBooks Online, brought to you by your favorite chamber, Ogunquit Chamber of Commerce. Today, what we are going to do is we are going to wrap it all up, what we have reviewed briefly over the past three sessions. And I want to remind you that there is a way to go back if you wanted to, if you enjoyed it so much that you want to go back and relive it. All you have to do is go to the chamber, and we should at some point have all the links. And also, I want to remind you that if we have been able to convince you that QuickBooks Online is the way to go, just go, give it a try. It's a very benign system. It lets you learn by making mistakes. You go and correct them. Remember, the best approach would be what we use in my practice, which is the supervised bookkeeping, where somebody, either you or somebody in your organization, will take charge of the bookkeeping, even if you don't have the professional knowledge, the accounting background. Your accountant, your CPA, and this is one of the abilities of QuickBooks Online. It lets you participate in real time. So you can have your CPA review, like we do, for instance, every week, what our clients have done to make sure that the quality is there, that any mistakes are corrected on time. And then if you are stuck, you can reach, for the expert, your CPA, and say, how do I do that? And for us, it has proven over the years to be an incredible, not just quote unquote, the best way for bookkeeping, but also a way of learning while doing it for our clients. And the response in general has been very positive, because they go, they do it, and they feel that if they make a mistake, they are being supervised. So it's not consequential. Anyways, in order to, if you want to have a little bit more training, real time, you can use the online. QuickBooks Online provides for a real demo online, and just feel free to do whatever you want with it. The minute you sign out, it disappears. Nobody's going to see what you did or you didn't do, and go back as many times as you want. Remember, the way to do it is you can go the easiest way, because if you try to find the address with QuickBooks Online, it's going to be very hard. But if you go to my website, nosnik.com, go to the tutorial section, and there you're going to see the link to the online landscaping. They call it Craig's landscaping demo, which is what we're going to do today. Today, what we're going to do is, again, review all of the key features of QuickBooks Online. We're going to emphasize all the reporting capabilities, which I think it's, at the end of the day, that's really what you want. You want financial information relevant on a timely basis. So what we're going to do is, can we share now? Okay. We're going to go and share the screen. Okay. So you see it, it's the 4-minute. Gonna go. Okay, this is the website. You go to tutorials, and right here you can go to Craig's design, which I have, I think, open. Yeah. Okay, so here we are. This is our QuickBooks. Let me make it here. Okay, and this is the dashboard. Typically, that's where you always land. Remember that you have like a workflow. I personally never use it. I think that using the left hand menu is a better way to get to where you want to go. Remember that in general, the user interface with QuickBooks Online is very benign. You can get anywhere in less than 3 clicks, no matter where you are. And there's always more than one way to get to where you need to be, as we're going to see as we navigate during our last session today. Very good. So here we are, remember the dashboard, workflow, but also the business overview. If your accounting is up to date, let's say as of last month, you then can have a bird's eye view of, how you're doing. And you have your P&L, your expenses, your invoices, which is your sales. Okay, here is the balance of your checking account, savings account. And then remember, this is dynamic. So you can make it for a year, last month, quarter. Same thing for all of these. Okay. Banking, remember, is it's the lobby where all the transactions that are connected electronically to your financial institutions are downloaded every night. So here, they just do it by account. You have your credit card, your savings, your checking. You can tie your line of credit or a loan that you have that has a electronic portal. As long as the bank provides the download service, you can use it. And this is one of the key features because it's artificial intelligence incorporated into bookkeeping. All you have to do, this is what happened, when it happened, and you can review it here. And then if it makes sense, you match it or you approve of it, you add it. And then remember, the workflow is basically functional. Sales will lead you to collections, will lead you to customers, expenses, vendors, checks. So when you click on sales, you're able to see your sales, your invoices up here in this menu. You can see the payments, customers. So you can see here, and this is, you can reach the information you need right away. It's presented in a very nice way. The user interface is very nice, appealing. If you're looking for a specific invoice, you can look for it, all sales. This will include, everything. You can sort it, ascending, descending. It's very easy to get to where you want. You can batch it. You can find it by invoice. You can have it by customer. Okay. And you can always drill if there is, for instance, a balance. It will give you now all of the transactions for a specific customer. Here you have, again, it's the same way to get to customers. In this case, if you go through sales, it could be 1, 2 clicks. If you want to go straight from this menu, it's exactly the same place. It's going to show you the activity over time, and it's going to show you everything. Cash flow, this is a very interesting feature. Again, it's artificial intelligence, and QuickBooks has incorporated the algorithms in order for you to analyze, based on the past history, the future 3 months. And it's interesting when you have some time, play with it. It doesn't affect your historical books. You really have to have a good knowledge of accounting to understand what is happening. Play with it, use it, but be very careful. Don't incorporate it into your normal workflow or analysis or controls until you really feel confident that you know how it's working. I've seen a lot of clients play with it, and then all of a sudden the forecasting or the projections, the cash flow that's being projected makes absolutely no sense. And they either panic or they don't panic when they really should. Then again, we have, as we talked about, sales with customers, so forth, expenses. You go and you have expenses and vendors. Here are all of your expenses sorted by date. you can here do the basic accounting by changing, for instance, this was a credit card expense. It was $34. It was gas. So we put it in automobile expense. You can change it. Basically, when you click here, you are opening up your chart of accounts. So you could change it. You can keep it as automobile, which is the mother account, or you can go to the daughter account, which is fuel, specifically what it was. You change it right here. Automatically, you did a correction of your QuickBooks. Fast, easy to get to, right here. That's what I mean when you make a mistake. In this case, the category wasn't quite what it should have been. You can correct it very easily. You can go by vendors and you can see the activity. Again, your band up here shows you very, very good information, and you can drill either by the specific vendor or by open purchase orders, by overdue, open bills, what has been paid in the past 30 days. So it's sorting capabilities that are very simple to use. Expenses, vendors. Now, when we talk about expenses and we talk about vendors, one feature that is really handy, it comes really handy, especially at the end of a year, when you have to prepare the Form 1099. If your accountant is not the one doing it, if you're going to do it, QuickBooks has a feature that lets you accumulate or identify the contractors that are subject to 1099 and then accumulate it and give you the report. Under, I think, reports, which we are going to see it, there are 1099 reports that you can print. And the way to do it, and again, you can see it in taxes. You can either have sales tax or 1099 filings. Here, QuickBooks not only identifies the vendors, contractors that need to be reported and sent a Form 1099, but QuickBooks will actually has a service to provide it as part of their payroll service, which is separate from QuickBooks Online, but it's integrated. They can do it. Personally, there is another service that I find very economical and just very, very good. If you're going to do it, it's called Track 1099. If you go to track1099.com, that's a service that we use in my firm for all of our clients. However, the information to feed the Track 1099 in this case, it all comes from QuickBooks. And the way you do it, again, you go to your vendors, which would be under expenses. Remember, vendors, expenses. So we go to the vendors, okay? And what I want is not actually what I want is a list of my vendors. Okay, see it here, says prepare 1099. Well, that just took us back to, see, now I'm stuck. I want to go back. It took us back to where we were before, to the actual reporting preparation. What I want to do, okay, now, I'm trying to get back. Not letting me. So let me see.
The test drive, the tab next to vendors at the top there, go to test drive QuickBooks, perhaps?
Yeah. Yeah, this is where we are. So what I'm going to do, David, is I'm just going to go and open up again the test drive. Do it again. It might say we can. Let me see. But yeah, get rid of the one I have here and open it again. Remember, it's the Microsoft approach. Just turn it off and on. Here we are. So we were talking about vendors. What I want now is I want a list of my vendors. Okay. Here is where I have my list of vendors. And what we wanted to do is tag them as being trackable for 1099 purposes. So you can use, for instance, remember 1099 is for individuals that you spent over $600 and they provide you personal services. So let's say this must be an individual, let's say, right? This is the activity, but up here is where we have the information. To edit the information, to look at the actual registry, we go to edit, and we can see here the specifics, the demographics of the vendor. So we have the name, website, emails, telephone number, and here it says track 1099. So if we want to track, we put it right here, okay? And we can actually include the Social Security or the EIN, employer identification. It needs a password, but basically, remember, we go here. This is the information. We make it track. If we want to, we can have a default expense. Not in this case. It would be insurance, for instance, right? Once we put the track 1099, basically what it's doing, it put a tag, and all of the payments, all of the expenses related to this vendor will then be available in a report. You go to the report section and go to the vendor section, which is what you owe, expenses, vendors, and you can track them here. Now, for some reason, and again, the capability of the demo is limited, but if you put the detail here, and because we have had expenses in this year, oh, here it is. Well, yeah, 1099 detail report. So, okay, perfect. So this Broshnahan, we labeled it as 1099. Therefore, we have a report, and this is the detail, and it would have all of the vendors. In this case, this apparently this is the only one that has been flagged. When we go to the summary, I think is the one that you really would use at year end, because it's going to just give you the balances. Well, this is the transaction detail. So that's the one that you would use, I guess. No, here it is, the summary. For some reason, when I tried it before, it didn't. Oh, there it is. So it is working. I think now it's that when we highlighted the flag, it just appeared. So what you would have at the end of the year is a list with the balances, and it makes it very easy, because all you have to do is then pass it on to the 1099 software, in this case, track 1099, and voila, it's done. When we then go to expenses, remember, you have the expenses, you have the vendors. Projects is a very, very useful feature that was just added about 3 months ago to QuickBooks Online. And if you think of QuickBooks Online as a huge database, which is what it is, of amounts identified as categories or accounts, and related to specific vendors or clients. This is an additional tag. And basically, you are tagging it as projects. What project does for certain industries like construction, where you have defined projects, and you would like to know the profitability of a specific project. Let's say a construction company is at any one point building 5 houses, and they would like, and they're buying wood for all of them for the framing, they're buying cement for all of them, and then they start using it. In any one time, when they use the regular statements and reporting capabilities, they will see it for the company-wide, for everybody. But if you would like to then segregate and say, this is how much cement I used for house number one, wood, etc., that's where projects comes into place. And what basically it does, it adds a field in every check, every deposit, every expense. So all of the activities that require individual input will then have a specific field, and that field is going to call project. When you go to the project master, you define the project and you say house number one, and you say just aggregate income, all accrual, all the sales in terms of cash, all the payments, costs, could be inventory, could be time, could be salaries, and you can have a report showing your typical income statement, but it will have it will be broken down by columns. So instead of just saying sales for the year, it's going to tell you sales for Christmas by the Sea, cost by Christmas by the Sea, profit generated by the project Christmas by the Sea. You can have it in a construction company. You can have it in any industry that you can think of has discrete projects. So it's a very good feature. If you really would like to drill more into it, I'll be more than happy to review it with you. Remember, Fridays, you can just send me an email. We always offer 15 minutes free consultation. And if we're not too busy, you can book 2. We'll be more than happy on Fridays to talk to you, to review your needs regarding QuickBooks Online. Payroll is a service that QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Intuit, the parent company of QuickBooks, offers. They're getting better, more competitive. What I would do is, if you need payroll, compare it, check it. If here, for instance, Bangor Savings has a very good payroll service, but ADP and Paycheck and payroll is a very, very competitive industry. Check them all out. And the key, no matter who you go with, ask them if their services, if their reporting can be integrated with QuickBooks Online. 80 or 90% of the services can be integrated with QuickBooks Online. So if you do it, it's just going to save you double entry, because whenever you run the payroll, or you have the professional payroll being run, automatically they send the reports overnight, and they are integrated with QuickBooks, and they will appear in your banking, just for you to click and say, okay. So payroll, check it out, compare it. I'm going to leave reports for the last. Let me just talk about taxes. The tax section basically has 2. One is the 1099s filings that we already talked about. And the other one is a very important feature, and that's sales tax. If you're not lucky enough to be in New Hampshire, then you are going to have, or if you're selling, even in New Hampshire, or selling outside New Hampshire, excuse me, you have to then manage taxes. It's very, very simple with QuickBooks Online. Basically, what you do, and here they don't have set it up, but all you have to do is get started. And it's just going to say what, how many layers, how many tiers of sales tax you have. Typically, you have one. Typically, you just put in there the rate and then leave it there. If you have multiple, let's say that you have certain special taxes for you're selling liquor, or anything, excess taxes and so forth, you can put them in there, and it's like the master, and it's going to say these are the state taxes, the local domestic taxes. These are the rates, and you can change them anytime they change. And then what you do is you go to the product itself or to the service. Most services typically are not taxed, but if you have a service that is taxed or you have a product that is taxed, then what you do is you go to the inventory, to the product. And remember, if it's a product, it's sales. So we go to the workflow for sales and we look at product. And we can do it here, or we can just click sales. Again, remember, more than one way to do it, and then go to the menu up here, which is just the replicate of the other one. And here you have the products. If you're selling products or you sell a service, first you have to come here, define it, explain this is what the service is, this is how much I charge per unit, and this is where, let's say this is a fountain pump, right? So you go, when you create it for the first time, or when you're going to edit it, name, SKU, category, you put in here quantity on hand, and I'll explain that. That's in order to keep inventory. It's another feature of QuickBooks, a little bit more advanced, and only for companies that have inventory, what the account is, etc. And then here is where you manage if it's taxable or not. Okay, so you're just going to go in here. I'm not sure it's all functional, but you can see here it has a specific information. So you can say, okay, this is what you're selling. It can have, it has miscellaneous, and then it will know based on the information you provided in the sales tax what the tax will be. So if you want to change the category of tax, you go directly to the product. If you want to change the rate of the tax, you go to the tax table. Okay, save and close. So that's what taxes are. Remember, mainly sales tax. You manage it here, tax rates, the different levels, and then you go to the product and you identify it. And then what happens is when you are going to have a sale, right? You can have it from the button, new, customers, you want a new sale. So here you open up a new invoice, you select the customer, etc., and you're going to have the sales tax automatically appear here based on the product that you choose here. Okay? So you can see how the flow goes from setting up your sales tax at the table right here, to identifying the products and their category so that it can be taxed at this level, to actually running an invoice and automatically the sales tax is included and segregated, because remember, it has to be shown separately. And then once a month, when you make the payment to the state, it will automatically know to take it out of the liability because the booking is automatic. This is all, the beginning of artificial intelligence walking through automation. Mileage, this is a very neat feature, also available in QuickBooks Online. It's very, very simple. If you track mileage, whether you're self-employed, freelance, or you have 3, 4, 5 employees, and you want them to track their miles and reimburse them for mileage, you can either have them write reports, or all they have to do is come here and download the app. And automatically, when you have the app on your phone, and you can have every single one of your employees with the app, they identify, who is who, and then it's very easy. All you have to do is, this is where I am when you're starting to go to the location. when you arrive, automatically you say, here I am, and it keeps track of the mileage, and then it segregates it between business. If you want to keep personal miles, fine. Otherwise, what you do is you just don't log it, and then automatically it will be transmitted to, or it's actually being recorded in your QuickBooks, so you don't even have to present a report. Automatically, it is going to pop up, and your bookkeeper is going to be able to account for it real time. What they refer to here is the tax allowance, year by year. Okay, accounting, basically you have your chart of accounts that we've talked about, and the reconciliation that we went over, bank financial statements. This is just an easy way to invite your accountant if you're gonna, especially if you're gonna use the what I call the supervised bookkeeping. You just invite them, send them an email, and then they register and they have access to the application. Apps is the QuickBooks Marketplace. QuickBooks has a very strong developed, they call it API. The API is the way outside developers can design applications, and then the API is the credentials that are needed and the controls algorithms that are developed in order to work together with QuickBooks. It's mapping of accounts, etc. There are many services that you've heard of that you can use the service on your own and then integrate it. In the case of the chamber, we are going to be hopefully transferring all of their accounting from a desktop to a QuickBooks Online. And once you have the QuickBooks Online, Chamber Master, which is the developer of the software we use, has now an integration with QuickBooks Online. What that means, whenever you work in Chamber Master or Bill.com or any of the ones that are in the marketplace, all you have to do is hit QuickBooks and they integrate. In the case of some software, for instance, I use in my practice Bill.com, this automated payments, really easy to use, and all you have to do is do it, and once the payment is made, automatically, without you doing anything, it is being recorded in QuickBooks. So you can do it. I don't know if you use any of those, but from billing to paying to managing payments, Salesforce, which is a Salesforce tool, to many. MailChimp, you can have emails connected with QuickBooks. For instance, you can send emails to all your customers, and it shares database, it shares information. Some of these are free, and all you have to do is be a subscriber of the app in order to be able to use it. Others, I guess you pay on a subscription basis. Shopify, eBay, PayPal, there's many. You can, says here, so you can do it from here, or what makes more sense, when you're looking for a specific function and QuickBooks, doesn't have it integrated within QuickBooks Online, then go out and see if there is an application that will address that need, and make sure that it is fully integrated with QuickBooks Online. If you have already committed to QuickBooks Online to be your accounting system, it makes sense to have the ecosystem around that basic system to be fully integrated. And today, again, I would be surprised if a specific application is not offering full connectivity and integration with QuickBooks Online. I would look for a second alternative. Finally, we're going to talk about reports. There's basically all of these reports, really what it is It's a way of QuickBooks Online to design the information aggregated and presented in a meaningful way for a specific information need. In other words, you have your basic balance sheet, profit and loss. And by the way, in order to, you have the favorites here as a means of getting to what you use all the time real fast. And the way to get them to this position is just to star them here. If you want to have not only the balance sheet, but quickly a balance sheet comparison or a balance sheet summary, you click the star. And I've been having problems clicking with this demo. But anyways, you would click it. Normally you would, oh, there it is. No, yeah, there it is, profit and loss. I'm sorry, the comparison. Balance sheet detail, right there, okay. If I take it out, it goes out. If I want to have deposit detail, if that's something I want to look at it all the time, there it is. Now, what's in here? This is basically your balance sheet and profit and loss. And they have it summary, detail, comparison. So it's just the different flavors of the basic system. And remember, you can do it. For instance, if I go to my basic balance sheet, right? I can actually customize it by saying year to date, fine. I can have it totals only. I can have it by days, by weeks. In this case, it's a year. I can have it by months. I can have the comparison with prior year, or I can make it compare the dollar amounts, the percentage. So I can design it here, run it, and get a report, right? Or I can go to reports and say, you know what, you guys have done it. So let me see, for instance, a balance sheet comparison. Okay, so there it is. What they did is basically they put other and they put previous year, which again, I could have done. So in your reports, you want to have your basic balance sheet and income statement. And for some analysis, the cash flow, statement of cash flows, I would be a little careful. I think a P&L and a balance sheet is more meaningful, just those two, than trying to analyze the cash flow. The way cash flows are reported, investment, expense, operations, and this has nothing to do with QuickBooks Online. It's basically more the accounting part of it. So basically your basics, balance sheet, income statement, in whatever flavor you want, comparing it to last year, comparing it by months, by weeks. And then you have the customers, and then you have the vendors. Who owes you and what do you owe? And you can have it, your customers, accounts receivable detail, who owes you by period, your typical aging. You can have a summary, collections report. Typically, this is the one you use when you're actively collecting. So you can review them all. I would encourage you to take a look at it just to see what's available already designed. You can always design your own, but take a look at what's in there and just make sure that on a regular basis, you don't run more than 5 reports. In my experience, when you try to overwhelm yourself with all kinds of reports, you tend to not to look at any of them. They all end up in the drawer. So here is your payables. Here is your sales and customers. Again, you can have the actual customer list. You can go to your customer contact list directly here. It's a pretty good, nice directory of your clients. and then you can have your financial information, sales by client, etc. Review them. Choose the one you want. And then if you have, for instance, deposits detailed, and you decide that you want, well, not all of them have information, unfortunately, in this demo. But let's say that you're looking at, let me see if this will have anything. Okay, so here, this is a project report with income and expenses and your net income, right? We talked about it. And here, even though you already have this report, you still can change what date you want to see it. This is for January to March. Well, I want to see last year. All you do is last year and see, there it is. Well, I want to see the comparison. I want to see this year to date, but I want to also compare it to previous year right here. Okay, so it's very flexible, very dynamic. You know, so you can look at it, you can say, no, this is not what I want, change it again. And then you can get sales taxes, employees. This is a little bit more, you know, general ledger, journals, etc. This is typically what we use, in the accounting. It's very helpful, but again, some of these report choices are just being repeated. You know, you can see them in the financial section, you can see them for my accountant, but you know, here we have reconciliation reports. That's something that we look at every month with our clients, part of the control. You know, we have the trial balance, we have the general ledger, we have journals. Those are more geared towards the accounting. Payroll, if you work, if you have the payroll connected through Intuit, you can have your, you know, all your payroll reports available right here. Otherwise, you would have to go to your application. So we're getting to the end of this very last session. What I wanted to emphasize is that I believe that QuickBooks Online is the best solution for the small, for the growing business. It provides flexibility. It provides ease of use. It makes it nice to look at it. There are products that you open it up and it gives you a headache. Here it's nice, it's easy, it's intuitive. And the important thing is, as you grow, you can use deeper and deeper some of the features that you may not have thought of using at the beginning. And further, if you get to the point where you really need to address a very specific need and you cannot find it within the system itself, through the apps, through the marketplace of apps, I am almost sure that you can, with QuickBooks Online as the anchor, you can address 95%, if not 100% of your needs. So that concludes our presentation. Now, if there is any questions, please let me know. Not too many? Okay, not a problem. Remember, please, 2 takeaways. QuickBooks Online is really flexible, is really good. It's not that expensive. I believe it's like $80 a month, the application, and you can learn it as you use it. One important resource is the library of video tutorials provided by QuickBooks Online. And the other one is the 15 minutes chat that you can expand every Friday with nosnik.com. Thank you very much. And if you really liked it, just subscribe to, no, we're not, we're not in YouTube, but please. And if any of you have any suggestions in the area of business or in general, areas that you would like the chamber to take on and bring to you, let us know. Alice is always on the hunt for good ideas.
Absolutely. Speaking of good ideas, thank you, David. Really appreciate all this time that you've given to us. Members can access the links to the video sessions. They're in the member newsletter every week. And we'll have a running library available probably for the next few months anyway, until people get too busy. And then we'll bring them back again next year. So thank you. Really appreciate all your time. David, I hope you got some good things out of this.
Yes, thank you very much. Very good.
Thank you. We'll see you all.
All right. Thank you, David. Bye now.